Hello, welcome. This is video number 8 in our series getting started with AutoCAD. What we're going to be doing with this video is getting started in model space and showing how that interface between model space and paper space allows us to eventually just print out a drawing once we get our work done. So up to now we have our model space. We had our D-size layout that was provided with the template file that we opened up in AutoCAD, made modifications to that. Now we have our A-size layout, which is the ones we're going to be using in the CAD lab. And one thing I didn't mention that needs to be mentioned, and I apologize for not mentioning it up till now, is save often. Save often. With this file that you created here, let's go ahead and save that and do that right now. And save it in a place that you can find it, because this now is our template file that we're going to be using for the duration of the next 2 weeks in regard to doing all of our work in the AutoCAD. We're going to be using this template file and opening us up every time we start a new drawing. So it's important that we go ahead and save this and not put it in a place where we can't find it. So go to the application menu, pull that down, go to File, Save As. Save it as an AutoCAD drawing. And I put mine in week 2. But you can put it somewhere else if you like. I have all my weeks set up to week 11. And I'm going to call that, instead of drawing number 8, I'm just going to call that template. Template. If you want to put, with an E, capital T if you like. If you want to put a date in front of that, you're welcome to do that. So if you make updates to your template file, you know which one's the new one and which one's the old one. The date format I like, it's typical of my filing formats. It's going to be the year, the month, and the day is the way that works. That way, every day that ticks, it's consecutively one bigger, a number that's just slightly bigger than the previous day's file. So 12/01 and today's date 10-template, and go to save. And it's automatically going to save as a drawing file, not as a template file, but we're going to call it template. I'm going to go to save. So now we have that template file saved. You don't want to do any work in that right now necessarily, but let's go ahead and resave that as something else. And we're going to create the cinder block that's on the website. So let's go ahead and go to Save As. And instead of template file, I'm going to go into my week 2 file. I'm going to call that cinder block. I need to keep that same naming format with the numbers in there. And then I'm going to call this CMU. It used to be called cinder blocks, but they're all concrete blocks. But I'm going to call that CMU. 12/10/10. Ooh, this isn't the 10th. It's 01, by the way. It's not the 10th month, but the first month. And then CMU. And go to save. I'm going to go back later and change that template file name. And go to save. So now we're ready to go. I would suggest that if you make any changes to your template file, doing work, that if you make like a CMU and you decide to make some additional changes to your template file, maybe you want to make the template file or the border on your title block fit the paper a little bit better once you get it to print. Make sure you change it to your drawing that you're drawing on and drafting on, but make sure you also change it to your template file here, so your template file is always the best file out there, and you can always rely on that. Okay, gosh, enough said. Let's get started. Let's go to model space, and let's just start drawing. What we want is a 16 by 8 inch block. And we can start in a 0 layer, but what I like to do is create a new layer. I'm going to call that my draw layer. So remember how we did this before in previous videos. If we go to the layer properties button, we're going to create a whole new layer. And click on the new layer button. Layer 1 is already there waiting for us to go. We're going to call that draw, or draft if you want to do that. And we're going to keep that white, and all the other parameters are going to keep that the same as they are. And one thing to make note here is this layer called depth points, like death points. Don't touch it; it'll kill you, sort of thing. But what definition points are is it some internal thing that AutoCAD automatically adds to their drawings. And what it does is it blanks out the ability for it to print. So I wouldn't suggest drawing on depth points. It's just some sort of internal geometry that AutoCAD creates once you begin to draw. Kind of weird, but it's worth mentioning because it's there and nobody knows where it comes from, and you can't get rid of it either. So green check mark will allow it to save in a way, but it doesn't close it. So go up to the X, and then we're all set to go. So make sure you're on your draft layer. Go to the rectangle button, which is up here in the draw portion, the draw palette of our home tab and a ribbon. And start in the corner down here. And what you want to do is you want to type in your coordinates. So this is already going out at like 45 feet. If you'll notice that up here in the right hand corner of your cursor, it's got some nomenclature to it. We're going to type in 8, and then inch, and then tab to the next one, and we're going to make that 16 inches. So it's going to go 8 inches over and then 16 inches high, and that's a little bit better. But you know, that's not quite what we want. So just for redundancy, we're going to go ahead and delete that and start a new one, and we're going to type that in a little bit better. Now you may find yourself, while you're drawing this, that you may not be in the architectural format in regard to your units. And if that's the case, I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to type in 16 for the first set of numbers there, and then tab, and go to the second one, which is going to be 8, and then enter. And it's a 16 by 8 inch block. Let's talk about units real quick, and then we'll end this video. If you need to change your units, if you're finding that you can't type in the numbers as I'm telling you to do it, with the single quotes and the double quotes, single quotes for feet, double quotes for inches, let's do this. And we'll do this as an exercise just to make sure everybody's on the same page with this. If you go to the application menu, click in that guy, go down to drawing utilities, and go to units. You want to make sure your units say architectural and not decimal. If it says decimal, you're not going to be able to do it. And just for demonstration, if I draw another rectangle and did it the same way I did the first time, if I typed in 8 double quotes and then tab, it's going to hate me. It highlights it in red, and it still hates me. So make sure you have it in architectural units. So go to the application menu, go to drawing utilities, go to units, set a decimal, architectural. Okay, and it should come out just fine. Okay. That ends this video. We're going to take a look at what that looks like in Paperspace, and then we'll go from there.